And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're talking about running back Brian Robinson Jr. and if he's underrated or overrated. Next, we're going to be talking about the importance of the Washington Commanders running game and how that's going to impact this team this upcoming season. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Jalen Lane, and many others for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about Brian Robinson Jr. and the Washington Commanders running game. And so if you've not got a chance to see this, you can go over to NFL.com and you can read this. And so this is Maurice Jones-Drew who wrote this, and this came out a couple days ago, but it ranks every team's running back from 1 to 32 for this upcoming season. And Brian Robinson Jr. got number 21. And so this is what was written about Brian Robinson Jr. here. So it says that Robinson once again profiles as the lead back in a deep Commanders running back room. That includes Austin Ekeler, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez Jr. Newly acquired weapon Deebo Samuel could also be used out of the backfield. So Robinson is under pressure to take advantage of his opportunities and build on his career best season of 2024, especially with 2025 being a contract year. Kliff Kingsbury likes what he's seen from Robinson during the offseason. So the physical fourth-year pro should earn plenty of snaps if he can be effective behind an improved offensive line here. And so that is what is said. And so that goes back to just the title here as far as fair or foul. And so I think that two things can be true at once. I think that this is both fair and it is foul too as well. And so here is the foul part about it. And so when you look at the list, it has two rookie running backs that are already ahead of Brian Robinson Jr., and they haven't played a down. You have Omarion Hampton at number 13, and then you also have Ashton Genty at number 17. And so they're ranked ahead of Brian Robinson Jr. And so, keep in mind as rookies, anything can happen. And look, we don't cover, their teams there. And so they could be looking very great in camp or whatnot, but they still have to get through preseason and then also too still have to do it in the regular season. And so that is a little bit of a foul for me. Then also too, when you look at the players that are mentioned here in this piece with Brian Robinson Jr. So Austin Ekeler, Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Deebo Samuel. Look, if we're going to put rookies ahead of Brian Robinson Jr., then we better be talking about our rookie, Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, who I think has a real chance to be a impact player as a rookie because he's looking good in camp. And I think that, if you follow this team, you understand the situation that happened with this running game last season. Obviously Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Ekeler got banged up. And so I think that if Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt can continue to do what he's doing in camp and that transfers in the preseason, if these guys do get a little banged up, I think that would certainly open the door for Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. And so he should definitely be in the conversation when you're talking about the Commanders running back room here. And then with Deebo Samuel, look, I think that Deebo Samuel is certainly going to get some carries here in the backfield. I'm not sure if Kliff Kingsbury is going to use him as much as a running back like he did in San Francisco, and not Kliff Kingsbury, but I'd say as much as Deebo Samuel was used in the 49ers, offensive scheme as a running back. Not sure if that's going to happen here with the Washington Commanders as much. We'll see, but I'm not sure if he's necessarily going to be the one that puts pressure on Brian Robinson Jr. I will say this. This is a little bit now going towards the fair part about it. I think because the running back room is so deep, there is a lot of chances for different running backs to step up here. And so with it being a contract year, which is fair as well, I definitely think that certainly could put some pressure on Brian Robinson Jr. And I definitely think that he knows that he has to come in and perform well. And really, I think that, we saw last season that when the running game was clicking, this team was very hard to stop. And I think that now coming in, it's going to be a challenge for this team. And I've said this before that the running backs and really the whole running game for the Washington Commanders is going to be huge, not just, as far as just what they do as far as moving the football on the ground, but it's really going to help as far as going against these defenses that Jaden Daniels is going to face. I've said this before, that if you can run the football, you're going to slow down the pass rush. And ultimately, what you're doing is you're keeping a defense guessing. And so you cannot afford not to have games where you're solid on the ground. So you've got to be good there and not just carrying the football out of the backfield. I mean that Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Ekeler, Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, whoever this team decides to suit up at the running back, they're going to also have to be very good as far as being receivers out of the backfield. You need to put maximum pressure on a defense. And so that is why this running game is going to be super important, because it really keeps this offense balanced. It'll keep a defense off balance, and it's going to be key for this team if they expect to win the Super Bowl. You have to be a balanced team. I've said this before. When you get into the playoffs and you get into situations where the weather is terrible, you need to be able to run the football. And I'm not saying that you're not going to not be able to pass the football, but you had better be able to line up, move people out of the way, and get to where you need to get to. Because if you can continue to make the first down marker short as far as to get to, then you're going to be a football team that is ultimately going to put yourself in position to win some games here. And so, is Brian Robinson Jr. overrated? I don't think that he's overrated. I don't think that that is the case. But is he underrated? It's slightly, I'd say slightly, because really, I think what it comes down to with Brian Robinson Jr. is, can he be a player that can handle some more carries? Because at this point, at 187 carries last season, I think that that's just not enough, for Brian Robinson Jr. to establish himself as a lead back. I think that Kliff Kingsbury has talked about wanting to get him the football, early and often here. Now he's got to definitely take these carries and he's got to make something of it. And I think that that's where the pressure is going to come in here, because we have to run the football. And so if he's not getting it done, then you have to go to the next man up here. So I do like the fact that the averages have gone up for him at 4.3 and average. And I like the fact that he got to 8 touchdowns. But I think that if Brian Robinson Jr. wants to take a leap here this next coming season, he's going to have to be a player that gets double figures in the touchdowns, and he's going to have to try to find a way to get to 1,000 yards or close to it. And the carries have got to come up. And so his first season, 205. And so I think he's got to come up a little bit more than that. Let's see, how he's used in the run game here. But make no mistake about it, I think the running game is going to be huge for the Washington Commanders. I've talked about this before with each running back, whether it's Austin Ekeler and what he's going to do, I think, as a pass receiver. I think that you can look at Jeremy McNichols as a nice change in pace type of back. And the same with Chris Rodriguez Jr., who looks, very good so far in the mandatory mini camps and stuff like that. Looks like he's in some great shape. And again, just going back to the fair or foul with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, he looks very good. And I think one of the things that people are not thinking about with him is this is a young man that missed a year of football as far as competitive football. Now, he practiced and everything else, but, due to the fact that he had to sit out his last college season, look, I think he's very hungry. He has a chip on his shoulder, which is why I think that he also could really be a contributor here. But anyhow, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking about Brian Robinson Jr. Do you think that it's fair that he was ranked number 21 in this article? And once again, I highlighted the fact that 2 rookies were ahead of him, and we didn't even get our own rookie mentioned. And then also, too, what do you guys think here with Deebo Samuel? Do you think that he's going to play more of a running back role with the Washington Commanders than he did with the San Francisco 49ers. I think that he's going to definitely play a bit of the role, but I'm not sure if he's necessarily going to do as much there, because I do think that really Deebo Samuel has a chance to maybe have one of his better years as a wide receiver. I really think that, just with the things that are lined up beside him, whether it's Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Zach Ertz, Noah Brown, hopefully Terry McLaurin. Like, I think that there's just so much that is going on that a defense has to guard. I think that you're going to have to turn somebody loose. And I think that maybe Deebo Samuel might be that guy that just gets back to just being elite, I think, as a wide receiver. But you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. And as we always say, look, go Commanders. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.